Peter SCHRAGER just dropped a bomb, and when SCHRAGER talks, the league listens. The NFL Network insider, one of the men with the most reliable sources across all 32 teams, just published a mock draft based on real information circulating right now out of Ashburn, and he has the Commanders taking a linebacker out of Ohio State at number 7. 6'5", 244 pounds, 40 in 446, a relative athletic score of 9.99, and the comparison that changes everything, Fred Warner, the same Fred Warner that Adam Peters knows better than anyone because he was the architect of that roster in San Francisco. When SCHRAGER makes that comparison, he is not being casual. He is sending a direct signal to the Washington front office. But that is only the first move on the board, because while Ashburn is processing that analysis, there are players inside that building who already saw something the rest of the DMV still cannot see, and their reaction was so loud it leaked before anyone could contain it. The Commanders' new uniforms are ready, and what came out of Jeremy Reeves' mouth when he saw them says absolutely everything. And after that, there is a wide receiver that half the NFL cannot stand, that ESPN has right now as the #1 receiver available in free agency. And who could be the weapon nobody in the DMV is asking for, but that Jayden Daniels needs more than anyone wants to admit? Peter SCHRAGER, not just anybody. This man has sources inside the league that most beat reporters would kill for. He just dropped his mock draft based on what he's actually hearing from real sources around the NFL. And what does he have for the Commanders at number 7? Ohio State linebacker Sonny Styles. And before you say anything, don't come in with the another unicorn linebacker who's going to bust take. Because Styles is not Jamin Davis. He is not Isaiah Simmons. SCHRAGER compared him to Fred Warner. And you know who knows Fred Warner better than almost anyone? Adam Peters, the same GM who built this roster, worked alongside Warner in San Francisco. So when SCHRAGER makes that comparison, he's not being casual. He's sending a signal. Now let's talk about the numbers, because this is what separates real prospects from paper ones. Sonny Styles measured in at 6'5", 244 pounds at the combine. He ran the 40 in 4.46. He jumped 43.5 inches in the vertical, and his relative athletic score was 9.99, virtually perfect for the position. That's not a linebacker. That's a weapon of mass destruction with a safety's brain and a defensive end's frame. And the production through the entire 2025 regular season, he only missed 2 tackles, both in the playoffs. 2 in the entire regular season. That's not just athleticism. That's elite processing, elite technique, elite closing speed. That's exactly what this Washington defense has been missing. Now here's how SCHRAGER's scenario plays out. Jeremiah Love goes off the board to the Titans, and with Love gone, Styles falls to number 7, with Carnell Tate, Reuben Bain Jr., and Caleb Downs still sitting there on the board, and Washington takes him anyway. Look, I could be wrong about this, but when an insider at SCHRAGER's level says he's hearing it from sources and there's already a confirmed top 30 visit on the books, that's not coincidence. That's smoke from a real fire. The tactical logic is airtight. Washington added Leo Chenal in free agency, but Chenal is going to live on the edge. With Styles inside, Dan Quinn can align 3 linebackers simultaneously and create matching problems that very few offensive coordinators can solve. Coverage handled, slot coverage linebacker handled, immediate green dot player who can lead a defense from day one also handled. And here's the real debate that needs to live in the comments right now. Do you sacrifice the chance to give Jayden Daniels a first-round offensive weapon because Tate and Makai Lemon are going to be there, Caleb Downs is going to be there, to instead lock down a defense that completely derailed your season? Because if Styles is sitting at 7, fam, that pick makes itself. April 15th, mark it, set an alarm, tell somebody, because that is the day the Washington Commanders officially unveil the new uniforms for the 2026 season. And what we already know firsthand is that every player who's seen them could not hold back. Jeremy Reeves just signed his extension, looked at those uniforms, and the first thing out of his mouth was, "That's tough." In the DMV, that is the highest compliment you can give, and Reeves wasn't alone. Oduf Owe, Rashad White, Diami Brown, Amik Robertson, Leo Chenal, all of the new additions walked through that same room, saw the same design, and the reaction in that room was unanimous. Now, what do we actually know concretely? Very little, and that's intentional. Josh Harris has been strategic about this from day one, and what he has said is more than enough to put the puzzle together. First, honor the past. Second, wake you up. Update without forgetting the heritage. Third, there are still surprises coming. Last year, they brought back the gold pants. Then came the Super Bowl era jerseys. The direction is crystal clear. They are building a visual bridge between the 1980s and 90s, when this franchise was absolutely terrifying, and the present day with Jauan Daniels as the face of everything. And Harris said it plainly, I was there in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. I know what it meant to fans. That's not a marketing line. That is an owner who genuinely understands what this franchise's identity means. The stadium comparison is the key to understanding all of it. Harris compared the new uniforms to the design of the new stadium at the old RFK site. It looks like RFK, but it's been modernized. That's exactly what they're doing with the uniform. Same DNA, new era, new technology. And there was one line Harris dropped almost casually that became the most important thing. He said, there's an obvious one we still need to take care of, and we're working on it. What legendary player in this franchise's history is still waiting to be properly honored? That is the mystery. And on April 15th, we're going to find out if the uniform answers that question. Fam, drop it in the comments right now. What historical element do you need to see in these uniforms? The spear, the classic deep burgundy, the Super Bowl era helmet, because your answer is going to tell me exactly which generation of Commanders fan you are. Jauan Jennings, just the name gets a reaction. At the start of this offseason, he was projected to land a 3-year, $67 million contract. It never came. The 49ers went out and signed Mike Evans, one of the most beloved players in the entire NFL, basically to replace him. And Jennings is still sitting out there. ESPN has him ranked as the #1 receiver still available in free agency as of today. Matt Bowen describes him like this: 6'3", 213 pounds, a consistent route runner who plays through contact and makes himself available to the quarterback on in-breaking targets. 55 catches last season with an injury-ravaged Niners unit, 9 touchdowns. And back in 2024, his Pro Bowl caliber season, he had 975 receiving yards and ranked 12th in ESPN's receiver scores. The problem: it's not the talent. The problem is that this man is genuinely one of the least popular players in the entire NFL. Sports Illustrated's Grant Cohn said it without a filter back in December. Around the rest of the league, he is one of the most disliked players. He talks constant trash. He blocks defensive backs with enough violence that he physically pushes them out of bounds, and his mouth has gotten him into enough situations that a Panthers player literally punched him in the groin during a game. That's a specific kind of hated, but here's the real analysis. At $15 million on a 1-year prove-it deal, the Commanders could acquire a physical extended slot receiver with experience in complex offensive systems, exactly what this offense is missing to complement Jauan Daniels. If you bring him in for 1 year and he produces, everybody wins. If he blows up the locker room, you cut ties. The risk is manageable. The real question is whether Dan Quinn and Adam Peters want that kind of energy in Ashburn, and that is a legitimate question only they can answer. 2 weeks until the draft board opens up, 1 week until the new uniforms drop, and a free agency decision that could still change the offensive identity of this team. The Commanders are in active construction mode right now, and every single piece that comes in or doesn't matters. So tell me right now in the comments, if Sonny Styles falls to #7, do the Commanders take him? That's the one I need from you. And if you've been rocking with this video the whole way through, you already know what to do. Leave the like, raise hail,